Hey guys, my name is Shanjai. Today I'll be giving you guys a quick introduction of how the map method works in JavaScript. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to click on that subscribe button down below and also click on that notification bell so that I send you a notification every time I upload a new video. Even if you guys are subscribed, welcome back to the channel. Leave a comment down below any other beginner tutorials you guys want me to make, and let's get right into the video. So this video idea was actually recommended to me by one of the recent subscribers. He was like, can you make a tutorial on how the map method works in JavaScript? I was like, okay. I was also confused with that when I was a beginner in JavaScript, so I was like, okay, so I'll make a video on that. I think this guide might help a lot of people, and let's just get started. So the map method, how it works is it is kind of a looping function in JavaScript. It's very basic. People try to overcomplicate a lot, such as me. I tried it like a various different ways. It was not working. So I hope this tutorial actually solves some problems for people. So the map function actually passes on a parameter for a function. So map method is a map method, as it says. It's a method which invokes a function to each and every element in an array. So obviously you want to map out a function. It's kind of like a for loop. So you want to loop out a function for each and every element. So let's put this into code and see how it works. So I'm just going to create an h1 and give it a class of number. So we'll just go really basic here, try to understand what actually the map method how it works. So I'll put a script tag just to write some basic JavaScript. So I'll just say I'll just say const, because we won't be changing it. I'll actually explain to you guys how. So inside the numbers, I'll make an array, and inside the array I'm gonna just give some random values, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So obviously these are random values. So what are we gonna be doing with the map method? So with the map method, we want to get each and every element that's in the array. So how do you go about doing this? So the first thing you do is you type the name of the array that you want to map it out, and numbers.map, and then you put a function. So as it says, you put a callback and then you get the value. So this is there are some main things that when it comes to mapping out some stuff, which is going to be the actual name for each and every element, which we're going to be talking about now. But the optional things are the index and the value that you want to put in for the mapping function. But this can go anywhere, like filtering and reducing, sorting and stuff. But just for the basics of mapping, kind of like mapping out each and every element, which is what most of the people do with map functions, this is going to be okay. So you put dot map, and then for each element I'm going to put brackets. I'm going to say for each element I'll give a name of number. So I put an arrow function and open up the brackets. So inside this, we could invoke a function that would be added to the mapping of the numbers. So numbers is the array, so the function will be invoked to that array. So I'll just say, just to get the idea if it actually does work, so I'll say console.log the number, so which is going to be each and every one of them. As we are mapping this out, this won't return only one value, it will return all four values. So if we do take a look here, guys, as you guys can see in the console, you guys can see 20, 30, 40 and 50, which are exactly the array numbers. By the way, this is like the basics of mapping. You guys can go like, so why did we make that class h1? So you could also console.log, that's no problem. But you could also make the h1.inner HTML. Now there's a problem with this, okay? Inner HTML, okay, we don't get that. So I get that h1 by saying const h1 equals document.querySelector. There are a lot of ways you could actually get some stuff from the DOM. So I actually don't want to go in depth, but if you guys do want a tutorial on that, make sure to leave a comment down below so I'll know you guys do want that. So in the query selector, I'll say dot number. So dot refers to the class that we are using, and number is the name of the class. So we want to make, right after we invoke the map function, we want to say h1.innerHTML will be equal, so we want to get that inside the map function, I'm sorry, So when you map it out, you always want to make sure what you're doing is inside the map function, because I'll get over the topic. So h1.innerHTML equals number. So if you see, it says 50, which is only the last number. So what is the problem here? So the problem actually is, so it waits for some time before it actually does put in all these values. So what we actually want to do, we want to create elements like we do in a for loop. So we say const element, I'll just say const element, I'll say document dot create element. I'll create a span, and I'll get that text content, which is going to be the content that is going to be inside the tag, and make that equal to the number. So right after we do this, a span element is going to be created every time there is a number in these numbers array. So there are 4 numbers, 20, 30, 40 and 50. That's the length of the array. So it's going to be created for that length. So if we do want to see that, so h1 dot append child, we want to append the element. So now do take a look, 20, 30, 40 and 50, we do get the values. But as you guys can probably guess, the map out method or the map function is similar to the forEach method. So if we do actually put this into code, so I'll just say forEach, there's not going to be any difference. It's going to return the same value, no difference, no breaks, nothing. But why is the map function actually different? I also had that doubt when I was actually doing my research before this video, and actually found some really useful tips that could actually help a beginner developer when it's kind of trying this out. The main function is, if you guys listen, that definition of the map method is that it loops over an array, it creates a new array for each with the contents of each and every element in that array. So say we are mapping out this numbers array, so it will create a new array, but we don't need to define any name or anything. So it will create a new array itself and put the new values which we invoke the function. So we actually changed it to be the text content of that number, and also we console or logged it. So it would have created a new array with those functionalities. So that's one thing. And also based on performance, you guys can't argue that much. I'll actually leave a link to one of the blog posts that I did read based on performance in map and forEach. Also the second one that's going to be very useful is that when you use forEach, instead it will return undefined, because inside the map function we can do stuff like reduce, filter, sort and all those kind of stuff like dot map, and inside this you can say number dot filter and stuff. You can probably get that, but when you put this into like actual working code, you guys can actually put filter method, sort method, reduce method, all those kind of methods, and that's only applicable in the map method. You guys can't do this in forEach because it actually returns undefined. Also it's not chainable, so I got my notes kind of there in my book. So it's not chainable, that's what they say, that's what it's supposed to mean. It's not chainable, it cannot be overwritten on when the program is actually running. So take that into account. One main thing is the map function of the method creates a new array for every function you invoke. The forEach function returns undefined, where also the second one is the forEach function is not chainable, so it cannot be updated or stuff like updated, filtered, sorted in runtime, whereas map can be. So take that into account when you're doing projects like API handling and stuff like that. I highly recommend using the map method if you guys are using it, but it's also got its advantages and disadvantages, guys. So if you that's pretty much it, the basics of map function, and also covering the differences between the map function and the forEach function. I hope this actually helped you guys If you guys did find some value, make sure to click on the subscribe button again as well. If you guys did subscribe when I said it first, don't click on the subscribe button again because you might unsubscribe. So also make sure to leave a like on this video. Also leave a comment down below if you guys have any other doubts or any like kind of any doubts guys, any questions. Make sure to leave it in the comments down below. Any video ideas, I'll make sure to do it as my next video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.